Field. It's the Houston Oilers versus the Green Bay Packers. Brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by STP, makers of STP oil treatment. We've got what it takes to perform.
It is a magnificent early autumn afternoon in Upper Wisconsin as we welcome you to the start of another National Football League championship. Was on 5 of the World Championship teams. He's now in his 3rd year as a head coach for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers will be kicking off to start this season opener here, and you could not ask for better conditions today in Green Bay. Temperature at game time in the upper 50s. It's expected to be no more than about 62 degrees as the Pack gets set to kick off. Their kicker, of course, Al Del Greco, putting the ball on the tee now at the 35-yard line at the opposite end, the south end of the field here, with this capacity crowd of about 57,000 looking on. The return tandem for Houston, Willie Drury and Steve Tasker. The 1986 National Football League season is underway in Green Bay. From the 6-yard line, it's Tasker across the 20, a 25, and pulled down to the 31-yard line. Sullivan coming up to make the tackle for Green Bay, and a good return by Steve Tasker as the Houston Oilers will put the ball in play. However, there is a penalty marker down at the 35-yard line. Bob Frederick is our referee today, and there's that indication, and it's one that we have come to see in the past couple of years. It seems like too many times. They tell us that on an average, you see it only one time per game through the season, but here's the indication now of the penalty.
Illegal back. An illegal block. Number 78 on the kick return team.
Bob Frederick giving us the indication of the penalty against Houston as we'll get set now to set the offense under Warren Moon. The Houston Oilers with Mike Rozier, Larry Moriarty as the running backs, and the receiving corps led by Hill, Givens, and Williams, and of course Ernest Givens, the exciting rookie. The offensive line is a good one. 3 first-round draft picks in that fivesome right there as Moon hands off. They go to the ground game, and they get only a couple of yards on the right side as Charles Martin stops Larry Moriarty. We'll take a look now at the Green Bay defense now as they, under Forrest Gregg, meet the challenge on this beautiful opening day in Green Bay. Alfonso Character, Charles Martin, Robert Brown, the down lineman in the 3-4, John Anderson, John Dorsey, Burnell Dent, and Brian Noble, the linebacking corps. A little more running room, this time out over the 35 and close to the 40 is Mike Rozier, the former Heisman Trophy winner, pulled down by Mossy Cade, and Sam, there was a nice hole to work with there.
Well, that's what Rozier does best. Deep in the I formation, and he's going to be a heavy-duty back. Now watch Moon, give him the ball deep. Now look at the block by 30, Moriarty. He breaks to the inside, has good vision, causes Flynn to miss, and Mossy Cade, 24, makes the play. They're going to have to count on Rozier this year to do what he did when he won the Heisman at Nebraska.
Just underway in Green Bay. First down. Here's Rozier again across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Charles Martin, the nose tackle, is down there to meet him head on.
It's obvious Houston's intention right now is to take some pressure off Moon and get that running game going. Both teams are suspect against run defense.
See the defensive line. Carricker, Martin, and Brown, the 3 down linemen. Here's your linebacking corps. Burnell Dent is one of the rookies that starts this game. The Packers with 6 men who are first-time starters, and you briefly saw the defensive backs. Moriarty in trouble, struggles back close to the line of scrimmage, but he lost a yard or so, and Brian Noble is down there with a great deal of intensity, number 91. He was moved to the outside from an inside position last year. He's just a second-year man out of Arizona State, and he had a great ball game last week, we understand, Sam.
It's noticeable right now that Ezra Johnson, 90, the best pass rusher, is out of the game with Robert Brown taking his place. Now 90's back in there in a pass situation.
Hill split down to the bottom of the screen. Out on top is the rookie Givens as Warren Moon has gone to the shotgun. Here's the pass in the far sideline. It's picked off. The Packers with Lee in the football. Trying to find some running room, pulled down at his own 36-yard line. Mark Lee, the 7-year veteran from the University of Washington, gets the first big roar of the season in Green Bay.
Receiver number 81 falls down, but Mark Lee is right in front. He's being double covered both in front and behind by John Sullivan and Mark Lee, who made the interception. And that's something that Warren Moon did last year. He tried to force the ball. He didn't have an interception during the preseason as we look at Mark Lee on the bench.
That is his 16th career interception, and for the first time now we'll see the Green Bay Packers on offense from their own 36-yard line, and the new quarterback, Randy Wright. Ellerson, the ball carrier, gets only a yard or two out to about the 38-yard line before he is pulled down. Ellerson and Gary Ellis, the running backs now behind quarterback Randy Wright. The receiving corps, Lofton, Epps, and the tight end Ed West. Good speed with Lofton and Epps. Meanwhile, the offensive line, Ken Rutgers is a newcomer. Rich Moran, Mark Cannon, who earned a starting position last year. Ron Hallstrom has been named the offensive captain. And Weingrad, who is the rookie in this fivesome for Green Bay and Forrest Gray. Kenneth Davis coming into the ball game now will take a spot in the backfield as he replaces Gary Ellerson. Ray Childress has started the ball game for Houston as the defensive left end. There was a question about his gimpy ankle that kept him out of the last couple of ball games. Good hole up the middle. Powering out over the 45-yard line is Gary Ellis. 7-year veteran from Missouri.
Houston ranked 28th last year in the National Football League on run defense, and you can rest assured Green Bay is going to try to run that football today.
Miles Riley, Abraham, and Frank Bush, the linebacking core for the Oilers. And your defensive backs, they're young, they're aggressive, and they love to hit. Batman and Robin, as Keith Bostic and Bo Eason are known. As the safeties, Steve Brown and Patrick Allen play the corners. Ball has been moved out to the 46-yard line on that carry by Gary Ellis. It is going to be second down and just a matter of inches for the first down. Now it's going to be third down. I stand corrected. And 3 tight ends now in the lineup for the Green Bay Packers. Rich Moran has come off on the near sideline and tending to a possible foot injury. He's on one of the benches immediately below us now as we get set for third and inches for the Pack. Ellis tripped up. Now as he close breaks, loses the football. He had the first down, lost the ball at midfield. It was bobbled out of bounds, however, before the Oilers could pounce on it. And so Green Bay gets the first down on a determined effort. But a bit of good fortune there for the Packers, Sam.
Yes, Green Bay dodged a bullet right there because it was clearly fumbled. Now, get your shoulders parallel. Go upfield now. Excellent block by 65, Ron Hallstrom. Now he breaks a tackle right here. And this is how you fumble a ball with a back trying to get that extra yardage. And someone pulls it out of his hands. Now watch the luck of the bounce. Goes out of bounds and they maintain possession. Have a first down on the 50-yard line.
Ellis was pulling Steve Brown along. Grimsley had a shot at him, and that's when the ball popped loose. Packers 1st and 10 at midfield. No score. Underway. First quarter in Green Bay. Here's the pitch, and here's Ellerson with running room. To the 43-yard line in Houston territory. Kicking off this first weekend in Green Bay. Activity, and of course at other stadiums around the country. The 10-minute ticker, a new innovation for NBC Sports this year, keeping you up to date. And you can see that Cleveland has gotten the early jump on the defending champion Bears. That's the first big score of the afternoon. And every 10 minutes we'll be updating you. You see a lot of zeros now, but every 10 minutes through the afternoon we'll be keeping you posted on other activity around the NFL. Running straight ahead and into a wall that time at the line of scrimmage was Ellerson. So it's going to be a third down situation coming up now, and again short yardage. We understand that Rich Moran suffered a left knee injury. You see him on the sideline, and what a vast disappointment it has to be for Rich Moran. He's a second-year player from San Diego State. His brother Eric playing today for the Houston Oilers. Their father Jim here in the stands watching. He was a former pro footballer himself for the New York Giants. But Rich Moran out of the ball game with a knee injury. We understand he will not return. Here's Davis breaking a tackle. Look out as he gets outside and out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. There's the explosive speed and power that we've heard so much about from the rookie, Davis.
That was a 19-yard run by Kenneth Davis. Now watch, it's short yardage. He gets the ball. Good block by Gary Ellis. Now watch him zip right to the inside, breaks a tackle. Now watch him accelerate to the outside as he breaks away from Batman and Robin, 25 Bostic, and almost goes all the way.
4 men had a shot before Frank Bush finally pushed him out of bounds. The Packers behind Randy Wright on the move at the 23-yard line in Houston territory. No score in this one as Wright gets set to pass for the first time. Dumps it out of the backfield, and Davis is pulled down inside the 20 at the 18 or 17-yard line.
It's interesting when you draft a back with Kenneth Davis' ability to run, but he also is an excellent pass receiver. 2 things have happened in the game right now. Houston threw an interception, and they were 28th against the run, and Green Bay is running well against them. Those are 2 things they avoided during the course of their undefeated preseason.
At the 17-yard line, second down coming up, 9 minutes to go, first quarter, no score at Lambeau Field. The Packers trying to utilize and convert after the interception. Ellis in trouble, pulled down back at the 20-yard line, and once again over there was Frank Bush, number 94. A lot of pressure, Sam, on a young quarterback. Randy Wright only in his 3rd year, but Forrest Gregg and the coaches say that he is their man, and they're very emphatic about it.
They're going to go with Randy Wright, and right now, as long as they can run the football, it'll take pressure off that young quarterback. Watch Lofton right now. He looks like he's going to be isolated one-on-one on the bottom of the screen.
Lofton and Epps to the right side, the pass to the left side, and completed. Davis just short of the first down. I beg your pardon, the tight end, Ed West. Ed West, who made the grab, caught 5 balls during the preseason, was pulled down, it appears, just short of the first down marker on the far side of the field.
Looks like another big 3rd down play. Wright is dropping back. Ed West makes the catch, and Paul Kaufman, a 3-time Pro Bowler, was cut, and they kept Ed West. Now, he's been an excellent blocker, but he's caught the ball extremely well in the preseason.
Mark Lewis and Dan Ross, the new acquisition, who had been cut by Seattle, join West now as the 3 tight ends. It is 4th down and less than a yard to go, about a foot and a half.
And I agree with
Ellis, first down and more inside the 10-yard line. So the Green Bay Packers showing some muscle with that offensive line as they push the Houston defenders back and got the first down.
Gives you an indication of what Forrest Gregg thinks about the running game. I think 4th down and less than a football to go, you should be able to pick that up. I don't think it's a gamble. You gamble, you have to know when the right time to gamble, when you're going to go for it on 4th down. And now they have a first down inside the 10 with goal to go.
At the 9-yard line, 7.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter at Green Bay, and the Packers threatening. First scoring threat of the ball game. Randy Wright looking over the middle. Ball in and out of the hands of Davis. It was almost picked off as Bush had a shot at it, number 94. Davis unhappy with himself because he couldn't hang on. Substitutions defensively now for the Houston Oilers as they send some fresh armament onto the field.
They're coming in with the nickel defense now. We should really look for the possibility of blitzing.
Alan Lyday, Jeff Donaldson joined the defensive backs. They actually run with 6 defensive backs in the passing or long yardage situation. Here's Ellis. He avoids a tackle, trying to shake out of the grasp of another man, but pulled down at the 9-yard line. Let's go now to New York and NFL 86 for this update.
Well, Gary, how long did it take for the new instant replay rule to go into effect? How about the first series of downs in Chicago? A bare fumble to the back of the end zone. Was Al Gross in bounds? The officials don't even make a call. They weren't overruled. They went right upstairs to the replay official. He said, yes, in bounds, and a Cleveland touchdown. They never made a call. They relied on technology.
And at Green Bay, after Cleveland with the early lead on Chicago, the Packers trying to get 6, unable to come up with it that time as the pass was intended down here at the 3-yard line. for number 87, Walter Stanley, and Steve Brown with a good defensive effort for the Oilers.
That was an interesting innovation. I've heard of the I formation, but not with 3 receivers. Both Epps, Lofton, and Stanley were one right behind each other. And what they wanted to do there is mix up the man coverage and possibly get the receiver wide open. And the quarterback, Randy Wright, missed Walter Stanley on the sideline.
So Al Del Greco has come on now for a field goal attempt out of the hold of Don Bracken. The ball will be spotted at the 17 for a 27-yard attempt. Del Greco has given the Green Bay Packers their first 3 points of a brand new football season. And the Packers capitalizing on the pass. Hudson, Gary Gerald with Sam Rutigliano. And the Packers have taken a 3-0 lead, going 55 yards, 14 plays, 26-yard field goal by Al Del Greco. The initial score, that after a Lee interception, gave the Pack possession for the first time. So Del Greco now goes to work. He'll be kicking off. Willie Drury and Steve Tasker in the deep spots at the goal line for the Houston Oilers. Houston, one of their strong suits, Sam, in the preseason was the fact that they scored early and they scored often. This now finds them behind for the first time in the preseason in the early going.
And they also didn't throw an interception during the preseason, and that interception led to the field goal.
Del Greco's boot. Coming to the goal line. Bringing it out is Willie Drury. The speedster out to the 30-yard line and pulled down just short of the 32. Ken Stills coming up to make the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Houston getting ready to put the ball in play. And Sam, I think you made the key point. Warren Moon was not intercepted in the preseason, yet in his first series he gave up the football.
And he did what he didn't do during the entire preseason, which he did last year. He forced the football.
Here's Moriarty out across the 35-yard line to about the 36 as the Oilers go to work on the ground now, trailing by 3. Burnell Dent, rookie linebacker for the Packers out of Tulane, making the tackle. On our 10-minute ticker, we'll be updating activity around the National Football League, and the Chicago Bears. Didn't take them long. They bounced back to tie the Cleveland Browns after that controversial first touchdown. See Green Bay with their field goal leading here, and San Francisco with a touchdown against Tampa Bay. Here's Mike Rozier out to the 40-yard line. Close to the first down. Going to be about a yard or so short depending on the spot as Robert Brown made the tackle for the Pack. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first quarter in Green Bay with the Packers leading 3-0.
I think you can look for Mike Rozier to carry the ball at least 20 to 25 times today. Last year he was used as a role player, and as you know, the great backs get better each time they carry the football.
3rd and 1 now for Houston. Just across their own 40-yard line. Moon hands off now to Rozier. He has the first down, plus about another 6 or 7 yards out to the 47-yard line. And we're going to go once again to NFL 86 for another update.
Gary, how disheartened were the Bears by the early Cleveland touchdown? Well, about this disheartened. The ensuing kickoff. Dennis Gentry makes a nice stutter step move, breaks some tackles, and outruns the last 2 defenders 91 yards for the game-tying touchdown. Back to Gary and Sam.
So some fireworks in Chicago, and look at this now as Rozier across midfield is quickly down inside the 45-yard line with a little misdirection move himself. Tom Flynn, the free safety, coming up to make the tackle, and Rozier is racking up the yards early for the Oilers. 4 carries, 30 yards.
Take a look at it. Rozier now is going to his right. Whoops, the traffic's too heavy. Goes back to his left. Regenerates, gets a good block on the outside by Drew Hill, and looks like Rozier is going to be the heavy-duty back, although he's out of the game right now on the sideline.
Pickup of 8 makes it 2nd down and 2 for Houston. In Green Bay territory, Moriarty with the first down, or very close to it. Looked like he had the surge to get him down close to the 41-yard line, which would easily be the first down. This telecast, we remind you, presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited. 1st and 10 now for Houston. Butch Woolfolk in the backfield for the Houston Oilers. He is alongside Larry Moriarty. Hill and Gibbons. We haven't seen Gibbons in action on the receiving end yet. The football, I believe, may have been loose momentarily. I'm not sure. No, Moriarty hung on. A couple of the Woolfolk and Dorsey going nose-to-nose momentarily.
Gary, are you sure we're not watching Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler? This looks like 1st and 10 and do it again, and after 3, just move the chains.
Counting down toward the 3-minute mark, Jerry Glanville pacing on the far sideline, the colorful new head coach of the Houston Oilers. His ball club trailing by 3, looking at a 2nd down situation. Here's Woolfolk running into a lot of traffic. Struggled and at best got a yard out of it before he was thrown back. Third-year player John Dorsey, who is starting at a linebacking spot today in place of Randy Scott, making the tackle.
As soon as Warren Moon threw that interception, I think Jerry Glanville went right to the ball control type offense. And they're going to test Green Bay's run defense. If they don't stop it, they're going to give them all they can handle.
6 defensive backs now on the field for Green Bay in a 3rd down situation. Houston needs just over 4 yards. Make it 5 yards as Moon goes to the shotgun. Remember, he was intercepted in this situation on their first series. Here comes the blitz. Moon completes the pass, however, at the 23-yard line, and being knocked out of bounds immediately is Drew Hill. Tim Lewis, the defender, over on the right corner. But Moon, that time, despite the blitz, got rid of the football, and the Oilers have a 1st down to keep the drive alive.
Well, you live or die by the blitz. We're in shotgun now. Moon gets the ball off. The cornerback is under tremendous pressure right here. Tim Lewis, 26 on Drew Hill. On an outside pattern like that, you've got to get to the quarterback. If you don't get the blitzer in there, you're going to complete those one-on-one passes.
Rozier back in the lineup, gets a couple of yards off the right side to about the 21-yard line. But John Dorsey, who is really getting a workout here in the first quarter with another tackle. Dorsey, who played collegiately at Connecticut, once had 23 tackles against Rutgers in a college game. And he's had a number here in the early going as he starts for the injured defending co-captain Randy Scott. Scott with a slight hamstring injury that has kept him off the field thus far today. 3-0, Packers with the lead, 1:42 to go, first quarter. Houston with their first threat now in a 2nd and 7 situation. Ball short of the 20-yard line. Moon evades trouble, rolling out to the left, looking deep. This one has to be thrown away. Hill was the intended receiver, and the Packers had excellent penetration up front that time by Mossy Cade, who came on the blitz.
Now, this is the thing that Moon didn't do last year. Any quarterback in this situation now would be blitzed. Now watch the way he's able to run to the outside, watch him square his shoulders and get the ball upfield, because right now the worst thing he could have done was take the sack because they're in field goal position. This is what he's done that he hadn't done in the previous 2 years.
Great penetration that time by Mossy Cade, the strong safety. He was a 1st-round draft pick of the San Diego Chargers. 3rd down now for Houston at their own 20, or at the Green Bay 21-yard line. And Moon out of the shotgun, looking down the middle, completes the pass. Woolfolk at the 12-yard line. Looks like he has enough for the 1st down. Butch Woolfolk out of the backfield, pulled down by John Anderson, but had a nice clean route, and Moon was able to pick him up.
Butch Woolfolk is a perfect role player. As Moon drops back now, he's isolated on 59. John Anderson gets the 1st down throw. He caught 80 passes last year. Gary, this looks like a blitz day because both teams, when they're in a shotgun, are blitzing coming off the bus.
You mentioned Woolfolk with the 80 receptions last year. A lot of people were wondering, with this somewhat restructured offense under Jerry Glanville, what his role would be. Here's Rozier kicking outside, trying to turn the corner inside the 5 and down at the 3-yard line. Rozier gains another 9, maybe close to still another 1st down. Mossy Cade with the tackle. Rozier with some impressive numbers in this first quarter now as we count down to the final 30 seconds of the first quarter, with Green Bay leading it 3-0.
What he does best is causes people to miss. Tom Flynn now has missed him 2 or 3 times where he's able to get that extra yardage. You see, the value of a great running back is when he causes people to miss and he gets more yardage than the blocking will dictate.
9-yard gain in the last play, 2nd and 1. The ball just short of the 2-yard line. Moriarty with a call outside left. Touchdown, Houston. Larry Moriarty Moriarty was able to turn the corner. Burnell Dent had a shot at the goal line, but Moriarty gets the score, and the Oilers, after surrendering the 3 points after the turnover, have come back now to lead the Green Bay Packers with just 1 second left here in the first quarter.
Here's the pitch to Larry Moriarty. He goes to the corner. Someone's got to be up to support it. The corner was knocked down. 56 is running in vain because he needed to be there with help from the outside, and it's a touchdown. They're up 7-3. Ran the ball and hit some critical third downs on that drive.
Moriarty, who had 3 touchdowns in the preseason, had 3 rushing touchdowns all of last year, scoring in the first quarter of the season opener as Del Greco sets for the conversion attempt. He's got it. So the Houston Oilers have taken the lead now of 7-3 on the Moriarty touchdown and the conversion attempt with a very was on the scoring drive, an impressive drive by the Oilers to take the lead, capped off by Larry Moriarty's 3-yard run. And already in this first quarter, Rozier with 7 carries has 50 yards rushing. Jerry Glanville hands on hips now as Del Greco puts a foot to the ball, and in the deep spot it'll be Stanley from the 1-yard line for Green Bay. On the right side, big hole to the 30-yard line and tripped up. Alan Pinkett got a hand on him, and also John Grimsley to seal off the tackle, but it looked like Stanley had some room to roam, that he got the ball out to the 30-plus yard line. We've reached the end of the first quarter here in Green Bay. Houston leading the Packers
against each other.
After that fine return from the 1-yard line, the ball was spotted at the 29. Walter Stanley on the return, and the Packers go to work now, trailing 7-3 as we just start the second quarter at Green Bay. Gary Ellis in the middle with a lot of running room that time, out to about the 38-39 yard line. They opened up the hole nicely in the center of the line. You've got Tom Neville and Mark Cannon and Ron Hallstrom going to work that time. We'll check our 10-minute ticker here at NBC to keep you posted on other activity. The Chicago Bears gave up the early touchdown, but look at that, 21-7 now. Philadelphia over Washington. Other scores of note: Minnesota with a field goal to lead Detroit. San Francisco with a 2-touchdown advantage now over Tampa Bay. 7-3 ball game here. Houston in front. The Packers with a football, and that time Mr. Kenneth Davis ran into Mr. Robert Lyles, and Lyles with a good snappy tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Lyles was blitzing number 93, and they should have had the lead back blocking him. That was Ellis's man, 31. Watching on the bottom of your screen to the right, he breaks right to the inside, and 31 misses him, and now they're going 2 tight end offense. It's 3rd down and 1.
Packers had success in the first quarter with the 3 tight end formation. Ed West, who was the starting tight end, joined by Mark Lewis and Dan Ross. Sam, I know you like Dan Ross. You think he might well become the starting tight end here for Forrest Gray.
He caught 11 passes in the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Look at this. Randy Wright saw 9 men up on the defensive line, and he didn't like what
exactly right. Mike Rozier is the guy that's been carrying the ball for them. But both teams right now are kind of probing and feeling each other out. This is a very important 3rd down play right now to get a 1st down.
Less than a yard needed. Play action fake. Wright wants to throw. Has a man open. West, the tight end, can't hang on. 40-yard line in Houston territory. Little misdirection and deception that time, and the man was there. He had the defender beat.
There's Jerry Glanville on the sideline. That was a great call by Forrest Gregg. And Randy Wright threw a perfect pass to Ed West, 86. It's not a gamble. It was a big play, and he could have been down inside the 30-yard line. That's the biggest play of the first half thus far.
So a punting situation now. Willie Drury, the return man for Houston, as Don Bracken gets set to kick, standing back at the 25-yard line. Oh, he barely got that one away. It was almost blocked. Drury, gambling, takes it at the 24 and gets it out close to the 30-yard line. Don Bracken was looking at one of the Houston defenders right in his face, but he got the kick away. And with 13-20, oh so close, but Bracken got the punt off for 37 yards, the return of 6. We mentioned those rushing statistics in the first quarter. Rozier, 7 carries, 51 yards. Moriarty has the other 18. And this is Moriarty bulling for a few more here as he gets the ball out to the 34-yard line. John Anderson with the tackle. Time to check the 10-minute ticker. Still 21-7 in Chicago as we quickly look around the National Football League on opening weekend and all the excitement that goes along with such fanfare, such a magnificent day here. No notable changes on the scoreboard. Atlanta with a touchdown lead now over New Orleans. Looking at a second down, 7 situation. Penalty markers down. A lot of contact, as you can see, in the center of the lines there as that play unfolded.
Looked like Dean Steinkuhler, number 70, jumped offside.
Steinkuhler and Matthews playing the tackles. Bob Frederick indicating a false start. He called number 64, I believe, but there's no 64 on the Houston roster. There is a 74, Bruce Matthews, who plays the left tackle spot. Don't know if, in fact, it was he.
It was 69, Doug Williams, second-round draft choice of the New York Jets, who was cut by the Jets and picked up by Houston, and they think a great deal of him. He's playing right guard.
He's only been with the ball club a week and a half. Here's Rozier outside, tripped up, and a nice tackle is made out there by Mossy Cade at the 35-yard line. Cade misses that tackle, and the Packers are in trouble.
Doug Williams was cut by the New York Jets, and last week against Dallas, when Mike Munchak got hurt, Doug Williams was brought in there against Randy White. On the very first play, he blew White right off the line of scrimmage, and Randy White said, "Where's Mike Munchak? Bring him back." They think a great deal of this young man from Texas A&M.
I want to remind our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game. That'll be coming at the conclusion of this contest. Oilers right now looking at a 3rd and 5 situation out of the shotgun. Moon fires down the middle, completes the pass. It's Pinkett from Notre Dame out the midfield. Cade making the tackle as Alan Pickett gets his first NFL reception, and it's a big one for the Oilers as he moves them to the center of the playing field. Alan Pinkett set all kinds of records at Notre Dame, primarily as a rusher. I believe he holds no less than 19 school records, and of course the great tradition at Notre Dame. That's saying something.
Pick up the blitz. He's got a one-on-one on Mossy Cade, and Mossy Cade should do a better job covering a back coming out of the backfield. Been very impressed thus far with the poise of Warren Moon.
Early second quarter, Houston with the lead and with the football, and this is Mike Rozier. He's been a workhorse, and he's been very effective as he gets to the 46-yard line. It's a 7-3 Houston lead here as we go to NFL 86.
Gary, the Bears are growling at Soldier Field. Watch this one. Kozar tries to go to Kevin Mack on a screen pass. Wilbur Marshall steps in, says thank you, and gallops 58 for the touch. Of their 3 scores, one by the offense, one by the defense, one by the special teams, they're in midseason form.
So the Bears making life miserable for the Cleveland Browns here on opening Sunday. At the 46-yard line of Green Bay territory, Houston with the football. Moriarty. Small hole, gets to about the 43.
Gary, they're running the ball to their left towards Mike Munchak, 63, and 74, Bruce Matthews. And let's take a look at what Green Bay is going to have to do right now. They're going to have to shore up that side because they're blowing the end, the linebacker, and the nose tackle off the line of scrimmage.
Now, Sam, we also mentioned early in the game that Rich Moran of the Packers had a knee injury and was sidelined. We understand that his brother Eric Moran, who plays right guard for the Oilers, has a thigh injury and is now questionable. We look at Rozier trying to sweep the left side, turns the corner, close to the first down marker, and he's bumped out of bounds at about the 41-yard line.
Well,
Rozier has been impressive.
Jim Moran is in the stands now, hoping to have watched both his sons playing offensive football today for Green Bay and Houston.
You see them on the sidelines, respectively. Jim Moran, incidentally, sold the Packers the brand new $1 million scoreboard that is being unveiled here this weekend, and it is a thing of beauty, but it has been a frustrating afternoon for the brothers Moran thus far, as both now pace the sidelines with knee and thigh injuries, respectively. 10:05 to go, first half. Houston with a 7-3 lead. The Oilers now in Green Bay territory at the 40-yard line, looking at a first down situation. Warren Moon was intercepted on his first series today, and the Packers converted it into a field goal. But since that time, he has had an impressive combination with a running and passing attack as we watch Moriarty pick up a couple of more off that left side.
93, Robert Brown is in front of Bruce Matthews, and Burnell Dent, 56, is in front of Mike Munchak, and they are making mincemeat of the right side of the Green Bay defense.
Houston Oilers, of course, lost Michael Kelly because of a neck injury a week ago, and that's what put Eric Moran in the starting lineup. As we watch Moon go to the sideline, well, not the sideline, the third inside the 30-yard line on the right side. Ernest Givens, the rookie, getting his first catch. Givens caught 10 balls in the preseason, gets his first now in the regular NFL season, and it looks like he'll have another Houston first down.
Ernest Givens against Mark Lee, 22. Watch him go upfield now. Watch him slip him to the inside. Reverses, nice move, catches the ball, first down. Givens told the Oilers he was going to be as good as Mark Clayton, and apparently he's a prophet.
Just 22 years of age, celebrated his birthday just last Wednesday. Rookie Ernest Givens. Pitch out. Football in the hands of Rozier, and for one of the few times today, he's been stopped close to the line of scrimmage by Donnie Humphrey and Mossy Cade. Ball at a 29-yard line now, and this will bring up a 3rd and long situation. So what do we anticipate now from the Packer defense, Sam?
Well, we're going to have a 2nd down and 9, Gary, and the Packer defense, of course, is going to try to keep them out of any kind of a 3rd down and short situation. But I have been very impressed to this point with Warren Moon. He looks like a different quarterback than he did the previous 2 years at Houston.
Givens now split wide to the left side. Drew Hill, top of the screen. Moon looking for Hill. Far side, ball overthrown at the 18-yard line. Drew Hill, the intended receiver, last year caught 64 balls, most of them thrown by Warren Moon, and that was more receptions than he'd had in his 5 previous years in the National Football League, and he can be exciting as well.
He was an exciting addition last year. He came on a trade from the Los Angeles Rams. There was a miscommunication on that play because Moon threw the ball to the outside and Hill broke to the inside. The body language between the receiver and the quarterback is very important.
Alan Pinkett, Butch Woolfolk now in the backfield. They can swing out as intended receivers. Willie Drury also in as a receiver now for Jerry Glanville and the Oilers as Moon stands in the shotgun.
Keep your eye on Willie Drury.
Going for the distance. Home run ball, touchdown, Butch Woolfolk. Penalty marker, however, is down on the field. Woolfolk pulled it in as Moon with a perfect toss, but penalty marker's down. And we'll wait and see whether or not it'll be 6 for the Houston Oilers.
I think it's against Green Bay.
The Oilers certainly think so. Bob Frederick will give us the call.
Defense number 24, and the penalty will be refused. Touchdown.
The infraction against Mossy Cade and the Packers, so the touchdown pass stands.
They're in a zone defense. Drury goes down to the right. Wolfak goes down to the left. He takes a hit, but watch Wolfak right now in the center of the defense. They had one to the right of the hash mark, one to the left, and it was a touchdown. And here we go with the extra point.
They had linebacker John Anderson back there, was one of the men that was beat, along with John L. Sullivan. Conversion attempt is good. So Zendejas makes it now a 14-3 Houston lead at Green Bay. Lambeau Field, Houston enjoying a 70-yard, 11-play drive. The culmination, a 29-yard touchdown pass, Warren Moon to Butch Woolfolk. 14-3 now as we take a look at Johnson getting set to kick off for the Oilers. He drives this one deep in the goal line. Walt Stanley lets it go out of bounds, and we have a penalty marker down at the midfield mark as we'll be checking once again our 10-minute ticker, an innovation for NBC Sports that keeps you up to date every 10 minutes on all the activity around the National Football League. Change with our Houston-Green Bay score. San Francisco by 2 touchdowns over Tampa Bay, and Atlanta leading New Orleans 7-zip. Hear the crowd roaring in the background here. Mojo from Houston.
Receiving team
just retrieved the kicking tee
we're
on
offside.
the field.
The defensive team on the kickoff was offside.
Kickoff team was offside, so a penalty being imposed here. See where the ball will be spotted now as we have 8 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the first half at Green Bay. You see the officials who are working today's games, and you notice the addition of the replay official. Sam, that's something that we're going to be seeing from now on this season.
It's called the limited instant replay.
Already, as you heard pointed out earlier, in Chicago today. It figured in Cleveland's initial score against the Bears. Bob Costas back in the NFL 86 studios updating us on that activity. But even though the Bears gave up the early touchdown, they bounced back with 3 of their own. And at last report, as we saw moments ago, leading 21-7. Packers trailing now 14-3 after scoring first in this ball game on a field goal. Randy Wright handing now to Davis. Davis trying to be exciting, and he is off to the left side on the reverse. Got out across the 25 to the 27, and one of the Oilers is down. We've got one of the Oilers, Doug Smith, on the ground, and he was grasping his right knee. He is now getting back up on his feet, as you can see, and headed toward the sidelines. Sam, you touched on that instant replay situation. Let's talk a little more about this while we have a moment.
Well, what they want to do is make sure they're correct on any indisputable visual evidence that warrants a change. They want to concentrate on plays of possession like touchdowns, fumbles, or interceptions. And then there'll be a replay person in the booth who will communicate with the umpire if he feels there's a change that should be made.
Davis tripped up this time to the right side, got maybe a couple of yards out to about the 27. You see the box where it's actually just adjacent to our broadcast booth where the NFL officials are working. You get an idea of the relationship. They're just on the opposite side of the partition from us. They're viewing their replay equipment and making their decisions, and the key word is indisputable visual evidence. It has to be that. And here this will tell you a little bit more about the fact, the type of plays that they'll concentrate upon. It relates to possession and touching, involving the sidelines, goal lines, end lines, and the line of scrimmage. There are 26 fouls that this does not pertain to. And as the season progresses, we'll become more familiar with it. Packers, meanwhile, have completed a pass to the end, tight end, Ed West.
That's Phillips Epps, number 85.
It's Epps, number 85.
And had he seen Epps early, it would have been all over. He was wide open because Houston, again, was coming with the blitz. Watch the offensive line, Ron. Get back off the line of scrimmage. Catch those people. Keep them out of the quarterback's face. Give him time. Now get rid of the ball. He takes a hit by 79, Ray Childress. But had he gotten that ball to Philip Epps early, it would have been all over.
As it was good enough for the first down as Epps gets his first reception of the new season. At the 33-yard line, Green Bay on their own territory, trailing 14-3. Jesse Clark, the fullback, is in the ball game for the first time carrying the football, pulled down by Keith Bostic. Clark, a 4-year player out of Arkansas, saw limited action in the preseason, only carried 5 times. See his numbers from last year, however.
Mike Golick was in the lineup, number 68 at nose tackle for number 99, Doug Smith.
Less than 5.5 minutes to go in the first half now as Wright hands off this time to Davis. Across the 40 down to the 41-yard line, and he was hammered that time. Making a final stop was Patrick Allen, who really popped him. But the rookie shows you that explosiveness as he came outside quickly. Has excellent speed.
Had a 67-yard touchdown run in the preseason and has come up with a lot of big plays. And as we said on the top of the broadcast, he really gives them the first threat since way back to Travis Williams, who was a tremendously fast running back for Green Bay.
Legitimate 4.4 speed for the 40-yard distance. Third and a couple of yards to go right now, and we have a delay down here on the field. Looks like the officials are just about ready to wind the clock. Now the conversation continues, and we're stopped at 4:47 to go first half with the Oilers on top 14-3.
One of the problems you have right now for Kenneth Davis is if Green Bay falls behind, they're not going to be able to exercise the running game. That's also going to have an effect on that young quarterback, Randy Wright. Where on the other side of the coin, Mike Rozier is going to run the football more and more as they continue this lead.
3rd and 2. Let's see what the Packers elect to do in this situation. Play action fake. And the pass completed this time. Ooh, necktie at the 48-yard line, but with the first down, Jesse Clark out of the backfield. Robert Abraham put the hammer on him, but not before. The Packers got the first down they were looking for.
There's a lot of hugging on tackles, but that was a pure kiss. They did a good job. They anticipated the blitz, play action pass. Now get your quarterback out of there. He gets out of trouble. completes a little dink to Jesse Clark, 33. And here comes that Texan who lassos Jesse Clark on the sideline, but not before Green Bay gets a first down.
Frank Bush had the pass rush on the last play as Wright sets up, wants to fire deep, far side. Epps inside the 30, down to the 26-yard line. Philip Epps beating Steve Brown over on the far side of the field, gets it inside the 25, and the Packers trying now to generate some muscle of their own. Ball will be spotted actually at the 26-yard line.
Well, they heard us at the beginning of the telecast because there's Philip Epps, 85, one-on-one with Steve Brown, 24. They cannot forget that they have Epps and Lofton, two great deep threats in the passing game.
And thus far, we've heard very little from Lofton in the way of a contribution as a pass receiver. He's now split wide to the left side. Epps slotted just inside him, now in motion. Inside, Jesse Clark loses the football. The Oilers have it at the 26-yard line. It looked like Richard Byrd's arm snaking out there, number 71. He may have been the man to make the recovery. Indeed, Byrd comes up off the bottom of the pile. From southern Mississippi, a man that Jerry Glanville says is vastly improved in this, his second season, comes up with a football on a fumble recovery that kills a Green Bay drive, and the Oilers plays here on NBC Sports. Big fumble recovery by Richard Byrd has given the Oilers the football, stopping a Green Bay drive, and the Oilers punching it out now to the 30-yard line behind Larry Moriarty. 3:15 to go, first half here at Green Bay, as we check the 10-minute ticker now, keeping you posted on all the excitement around the league. Philadelphia leading Washington 7-3. The Rams with a touchdown or a pair of field goals over St. Louis. No other changes on this particular panel, in Atlanta now with a 2-touchdown advantage over the New Orleans Saints. Second down for the Oilers. On the ground, Rozier to the 33-yard line. John Anderson leaning in to make the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WEAU TV 13, Eau Claire.
Another big third down play for Houston. That fumble by the Green Bay Packers on the plus 25 is going to loom big as you evaluate this first half.
14-3, Houston with the lead. Moriarty with a 3-yard touchdown run. Moon to Woolfolk for 29 yards. The other score. Here's a pass completed to the rookie Givens at the 42-yard line. Mark Lee coming up to make the tackle. Joining him there with John Dorsey. Givens making his second catch here of the first half.
Well, Givens got me convinced he's going to be as good as Mark Clayton.
Reached the 2-minute warning. The Oilers have the football in their own territory. What would you anticipate their strategy would be in this final 2 minutes?
Well, I think they're going to do two things. They're going to try to move the ball on the ground to get in position to kick the long field goal. But during the course of the next 3 plays, look for him to go deep to Drew Hill or Ernest Givens to come up with a big play to get down in field goal range.
Thus far, Moon is 6 of 9, 82 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rozier going wide to the left side, gets around the corner for a couple of yards. That's about all, as Tim Lewis on the right corner and Mossy Cade, the strong safety, coming over to team on the tackle. Rozier with 67 yards up to that last play on 12 carries. Moriarty had contributed 31 yards thus far in the first half, so a strong Houston ground game in this first half of action in Green Bay. Warren Moon surveying the situation. Straight ahead, Moriarty not finding much. Getting about to the 47-yard line, may have picked up a yard and a half.
Got another third down and 5. And here comes the nickel offense for Jerry Glanville. There's Johnny Cash on the sideline in his black outfit.
Dressed in black. What a character. He has been most refreshing. We have enjoyed him so much, working his game the end of last season in Indianapolis against the Colts, and now his first true season opener. Woolfolk, Pinkett, and Drury now in that offensive armament for Jerry Glanville as Moon stands back in the shotgun at the 42-yard line. Down the middle with plenty of time, finds his man. Hill on the receiving end. And let's see where the ball is spotted. Tim Lewis. It's going to be very close to the first down. Let's take a look here.
They've got the first down.
They've got it by a bunch, don't they? 41 seconds to go in the halftime here with the Houston Oilers trying to get some more before the gun. Back in Green Bay. 41 seconds to go here in the first half with the Oilers leading 14-3. Moriarty with a 3-yard touchdown run. Moon with a 29-yard touchdown pass to Butch Woolfolk. And after Green Bay had tried to battle back, got deep in Houston territory, the Packers fumbled the football. Jesse Clark couldn't hang on, and the Oilers have now pushed back into Green Bay territory, and in this final 41 seconds, they're trying to add to their lead.
Now there's Jerry Glanville on the left as an assistant coach, and then he got his Johnny Cash black outfit during the offseason when he became a head coach.
First down after that last reception by Hill, putting Houston in Green Bay territory. And on this first down,
there it is.
The shotgun going deep. Hill at the 3-yard line, and good defense that time back there by Mark Lee, who just got a finger on the football. The man who has broken up more passes in the last 5 years than any other Green Bay player, and he broke up a big one just then.
That was a big play. Mark Lee made an outstanding play. That ball was thrown perfectly, and he was open. He sets, throws, gets the ball to the outside, right over the corner's hat. Now he puts his hand up at the last second, runs with him step by step. Outstanding play by 22 Mark Lee, because that had touchdown all over it, and that's the big play we talked about in the drive.
Absolutely, you called it. Warren Moon put the ball right where he wanted it to be, too, as you take a look at his numbers here in the first half. 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. He's 7 for 11. Going for more right now. In trouble. There's the scrambling ability, however, as Moon avoids the pass rush. He'll run it to the 40-yard lines and out of bounds. Actually, the 41 where he stepped out. Warren Moon showing us that scrambling ability that in the last 2 years we rarely saw, Sam.
Last year he had 58 sacks, and a lot of them were his own fault. You're not going to see that this year. He's an outstanding athlete. He sets to throw. Here comes the traffic. He avoids the rush to the outside. Now, what I like about him, he's trying to find a receiver. He's asking somebody to come. Now he pulls the ball down. Now get out of bounds, Warren. Get out of bounds. Don't take an unnecessary hit.
3rd and 5 now for Houston after the scramble by Moon. The rookie Tim Harris was the man who had the penetration and the pressure for Green Bay.
That was the owner talking in terms of getting him out of bounds, because he paid him $6.5 million.
Moon down the middle. This one incomplete at the 30-yard line, intended for Willie Drury. Tom Flynn with a defensive effort. And it's time once again to be checking our 10-minute ticker with 23 seconds to go in the half here at Green Bay. How are other teams faring around the league? Well, the Browns have come back. They're within 7 again of the Chicago Bears, and Washington has taken the lead over Philadelphia. Rams still by 6. Houston comfortably on top here. Detroit with a touchdown to lead Minnesota. San Francisco and Atlanta still out in front, 14 points apiece. I want to remind you that NFL 86 at halftime will keep you updated on all the activity and give you the details and the highlights as we're getting set for a long field goal attempt by Tony Zendejas. This one, if it's good, is going to be 59 yards. Well, maybe 58. It'll be measured accurately. Spotted. It's a fake punt situation instead. Zendejas angling for the sidelines. Is he going to get it? The ball's going to roll dead, however, at the 5-yard line. So how about that for a little change of pace?
Good call, and Jerry Glanville did that when he was a special team coach at Detroit. It's an excellent call from the bench right now because it puts Green Bay back in a hole, runs the clock down. Obviously, a 58-yard field goal would have given Green Bay an opportunity to get a big play on one play and kick a field goal themselves. Excellent strategy as he hits the ball, and teams practice that. Now the ball just falls flat, takes the bounce, and dies. The air just came right out of it on about the 6-yard line.
Nice soft execution on the part of Tony Zendejas, who's been a place kicker until today and has now become a National Football League punter. 14-3 our score. Glanville now has the headset off, as does Forrest Gregg, anticipating the final seconds here of this opening half at Green Bay. Got a Houston turnover, but the Oilers came back with a pair of touchdowns to lead at 14-3.
Watch the crowd boo now as they run the football.
From their own 6-yard line. So that'll be it, as the players are already headed for the sideline. The folks a little disgruntled in the final seconds of the first half. 14-3 our score at Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers will be receiving to start this second half activity. Stanley from the goal line. Slips down at the 14-yard line, and that's it. Is there quickly to make the contact with Chuck Betts. Let's take a look at halftime statistics in this particular game. Yards rushing, 109. And of that total, Mike Rozier has a pretty significant number. He had, let me check here, 7 carries, 13 carries, 71 of the 109 yards in the first half.
Time of possession is very important because Houston has run the ball very effectively against Green Bay. It's important now in the second half for Green Bay to come out and establish something and get back in this football game.
Right now, the Packers with the football, down 14-3 as we start third quarter action. Randy Wright, the third-year quarterback, handing off. Davis trying to find some running room, tripped up on excellent penetration that time by the Houston Oilers, and it was Bush, number 94, who got in there and got a hand on the ball carrier.
Now what we're seeing, Gary, is Houston on second down and long, coming in with their nickel defense, putting more pressure on Randy Wright. I think Green Bay is going to have to throw more on first down, and please throw the ball to number 80, James Lofton. Just look in the program and see his stats.
Well, here's Lofton coming out wide to the near side. Let's keep an eye on him now as they go to the shotgun, and keep an eye on the Oiler defense, possible blitz situation. Here they come. Wright loses the football at the 6-yard line. 56 Abraham there for the Oilers, but I believe one of the Packers underneath, West, the tight end, came up with it to save the day.
And James Lofton was open for a touchdown, but this is what Jerry Glanville is gambling for. As we look at Ed West, the tight end, he's gambling for time. That yes, Lofton will be open, but Randy Wright is not going to have the time to get him the football. Look for Lofton to come back on the same play.
Third down, 18 yards to go. Wright standing back on the goal line, waiting for the snap. Oilers not showing blitz this time. Pass tipped, intercepted at the 25-yard line. Patrick Allen goes out of bounds at about the 23. So in Green Bay, the fans are unhappy as Patrick Allen has picked off Randy Wright and the Green Bay Packers, who scored 38 points in their preseason opening victory against the Jets, but who have scored only 14, 12, and 9 in the last 3 games, have only 3 here today. And here's a big turnover, Sam.
That's Patrick Allen, 29, who got the tip from Steve Brown, 24. But Randy Wright tried to force that football. He should have never thrown the ball upfield, throw it out of bounds, and punt the ball. Now Houston is in excellent position for another score.
Moriarty straight ahead to the 20-yard line, running into a stack of traffic. Less than 2 minutes have been played in the third quarter, and Green Bay had one impressive drive in the second quarter when they moved the length of the field, fumbled, and Houston turned it around, leading 14-3 as we check the 10-minute ticker. Detroit still up just by that 7-3 margin at halftime against Minnesota. New Orleans has scored a field goal. The only changes there in the other early games. And, of course, some great matchups coming up here later on our doubleheader day on NBC. Moon looking deep. He has a man at the 4-yard line. Hill, I believe, was the receiver. Tim Lewis with defense down there. Drew Hill pulled that one in with a nice stretched out catch at about the 3-yard line.
Man-to-man coverage on the part of Green Bay. Crossing pattern by Drew Hill. Play action pass. Watch the play action by Moon. Now he locates Hill on the top of your screen to the right. Watch him leave his feet. Pull it in right now. Watch the impact. The ball doesn't come out. They have first and goal on a 3. And right now, 7 more points could put a lid on the game plan for the Packers, because it's going to put more pressure on the quarterback, Randy Wright. And Houston is going to come.
Handoff goes to Rozier. No gain this time for one of the 2 times today, and the indication that perhaps the ball is loose. Officials whistling the play dead.
The ground cannot cause the fumble. I think they're going to whistle it dead for second down.
Still some activity down on the bottom of that pile as the Packers determine that they can get it back, but that's not going to be the case. Houston's ball at the 4.
Look now for the possibility of Warren Moon to get involved in a play action where he runs the ball and gets outside and has the option to run it in or possibly throw it in.
Warren Moon in the preseason hit 67% of his passes. He was 7 for 11 here in the early going today. The pitch out, however, goes to Moriarty this time, and no gain again. Mossy Cade coming up with a big tackle now to force a third down situation for the Oilers.
Now the Oilers are going to their normal offense. They'll go to the shotgun, bring in Butch Woolfolk and Willie Drury, and now the Packers will counter that with their nickel defense. Big play right now for the Packers because a field goal puts them 2 touchdowns down. A touchdown puts them even that further behind.
From the 4-yard line, we've played just over 4 minutes of the second half.
You know what I would like in a situation like this? A quarterback draw, but I'm sure Houston's not going to do it.
Moon in the shotgun, takes the ball at the 9, fakes the handoff, rolls right. He may head for the end zone. He goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Mossy Cade once again got over there in time because it looked when Moon started right that he had a lot of room to run.
That's a 4-play turnaround rather than 7, and it go 21-3. They go to the field goal and possibly 17-3. He was looking for Hill 85, and he was covered by Tom Flynn 41. Then he had to tuck the ball and go out of bounds and not try to force it in because it's important right now for the quarterback to come out with a field goal as opposed to the touchdown.
So Tony Zendejas, we saw him in a punting role early in this ball game today. Now we'll try the field goal. This one will be spotted at the 10 for a 20-yard attempt. He's got it. And so the Houston Oilers have extended the lead, but the Packers have dodged a bit of a bullet. Gary Gerald and Sam Rutigliano at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. You couldn't ask for more ideal football conditions on opening day, but this sellout crowd here in Green Bay disappointed now in the Packers' performance thus far as they regroup and will try to move the ball out. Instead, they'll bring it to the 20. Walt Stanley elects not to run that one out, and the Packers will go to work once again. You hear again the roar from the crowd. Mojo from Houston coming out to retrieve the kicking tee across the way. The field goal of 21 yards, capping a 6-play drive after the interception by Patrick Allen, giving the Oilers a 17-3 advantage.
I used to want Rojo in the Astrodome to pull a hamstring when he ran after a score.
The numbers for Randy Wright, 49 total yards with 5 completions in 9 attempts. He's trying to build on it under heavy pressure. Ball tipped, and it hits the ground incomplete. That was nearly intercepted under heavy pressure by the Oilers. One of the Packers tried to come up with it. Once that ball is deflected, it's up for grabs. Ron Hallstrom was the man in the offensive line who had a shot for Green Bay.
Ron would have caught this pass, as we see right in the pocket. There's a break on the outside.
That's Bush.
75. Ken Rutgers let it go through. Now catch the ball, Ron. Catch the ball.
Says that's not what they pay me to do, Coach. Frank Bush had the heavy pass rush that time on Randy Wright, and the gambling defense of Jerry Glanville right now is paying off for the Oilers. Here comes once again. Hey, no place to go back there. A little mix-up in the backfield, right with the football, and he ran into a wall of white as Glanville had all the Oilers coming. Forrest Gregg has got to be concerned at this point. You're now 5 minutes into the second half. You're trailing 17-3. The only man, as you see that graphic, to participate in the Super Bowl both as a player and as a head coach. The head coach, of course, in his days at Cincinnati. And right now, all of that is a long way from his mind as he is surveying a scene that is not pleasing to him and his staff or to the Green Bay fans. Right out of the shotgun. This time has time. Phillips has the football at the 35. Still on his feet across the 40 to the 41. And that gets an appreciative roar of approval here in Green Bay.
Houston was back in his own defense. They've been an attacking defense. They might have outsmarted themselves on that play. As we see Randy Wright now focusing in. He's going to go to Epps 85, who goes on top of the up coverage and behind, gives 21 a slip, and goes back to the inside. 21, of course, is Robin Boeson, the free safety on Houston's defense. Throw the ball more on 1st and 10.
West in motion. Pitch out goes to Davis. Left side. Shakes one man. Shakes a second. Rides a third. Penalty marker down. Still on his feet. Out of bounds short of the midfield mark. But again, a penalty marker down on the play. So as the officials take a look, we'll be checking our 10-minute ticker. Davis with the indication of the face mask. Chicago with a field goal extending the lead over Cleveland. Washington, after trailing early, has now increased its lead. Every 10 minutes we keep you up to date around the league. No change at Tampa Bay and New Orleans.
Incidental face mask, the 5-yard penalty, and by the result of the penalty, it will be a first down.
There's Patrick Allen, 29, grabbing the face mask right there as Kenneth Davis goes down and gives him a stiff arm for good yardage.
Kenneth Davis not only gives you that great speed, but he shows you there a good deal of strength as well. You're going to hear a lot from this young man, not only this season, years to come with the Green Bay Packers. They are very excited about his performance in the preseason. Epps with a football. Bush with heavy pressure. Epps eludes him. Gets only a couple of yards. Frank Bush was all over back there chasing Bill Epps, and Epps was going in the wrong direction for a few anxious moments before he got around the corner on the far side.
I'll tell you, Frank Bush hadn't made that play, number 94, it would have gone a long way as we hand the ball off to Epps. Now, Epps does a great job of avoiding him right there, and that was Randy Wright, 16, who needed to make that block, and he gets out of bounds and gets back basically to the line of scrimmage.
Steve Brown came all the way across the field to help finally bump him out of bounds, but the great penetration by Bush, who was not fooled, the second-year player out of North Carolina State. Second down. Right to the far sideline, and James Lofton has his first catch of the football game at the Houston 40-yard line. The first catch by Lofton, who 5 times in his career has been over 1,000 yards in a season.
You know Patrick Allen is going to give him room. He can get this all day long. It's away from him, makes a nice catch on the sideline. They have to do more of that. It's 3rd down and 2. They got to pick up a first down. But if they're going to get back in the game, win the game, number 80 has got to be involved in the plan.
Lofton caught 69 last season for better than 1,150 yards and 4 touchdowns. That was his first reception of the 86 season. Davis, good hole. Close to the first down, maybe a little bit short. Oilers closed it up. Eason came up quickly from the secondary with a good hit. After the left side of the line, it opened the hole for Davis. So, could be looking at a 4th down, Sam.
We are looking at it, and he's going to go for it, and I agree with him. Down 17-3 right now. They have to go for it. They have to maintain possession of the football.
James Lofton, who is closing in on some Green Bay history, and the record by Hudson goes all the way back into the 1940s. 8:02 to go, 3rd quarter. Oilers leading 17-3. The measurement looks like it'll be about 6 inches short.
Don't tell me this is not a game of inches. Now all the coaches in the stadium are telling him exactly what to do. Let's hope he makes it, because those cheers will turn to boos if they don't make this crucial 4th down try.
3 tight ends now in the ball game. Ross, Lewis, West. They utilized primarily as blockers. Gary Ellis and Kenneth Davis will be the running backs. Randy Wright still talking to his ball club in the huddle. 4th down for the Green Bay Packers. They trailed 17-3. They scored the first points of this ball game, but have been shut out since. Ellis did not get the first down. Gary Ellis tried the right side, and it was no go. And you can see the enthusiasm among the Oiler defenders is peeling off the bottom. Alan Lyday and Keith Bostic. Robert Lyles was over there. And so a turnover on possession now, or a change of possession, as the Houston defense has risen to the occasion. The Oilers have the football back with a 14
to the Houston defense.
Ellis was the ball carrier. Houston now with the football out across the 40-yard line as Larry Moriarty gets a couple of well-earned yards. He and Rozier have been strong for the Oilers in this one thus far today. Houston enjoying a 17-3 lead with 7.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Now, does the pace of the game as far as the Oilers offensively are concerned change? What do? Do they try to sit on this lead?
No, they will not sit on the lead, but they're going to use the clock. The best way to use the clock is do what they've done successfully, run the ball.
Not quite so successful this time as Larry Moriarty in the grasp of third-year veteran John Dorsey.
I think it would be a big mistake on the part of the Houston Oilers to sit on the ball right now. They have got to do the things that they've done well. You can't come up with a lot of third and long situations.
And, of course, the Packers need the momentum. If the defense can get the job done on this third down play coming up now, that would give them the football right back.
The problem the Packers have right now is they're down and they're not throwing the ball effectively. And Warren Moon, the quarterback of Houston, is having a big day, and Randy Wright's not doing that for Green Bay.
Moon out of the shotgun. Backpedals to the 32. Fires over the middle. Drew Hill. Did he hang on at the 49-yard line? Bobbled the ball on the way down with his back to us. Apparently made the reception. And where it's marked, it looks like it may just be good enough. It is. First down for the Oilers. So Moon again produces on the third down.
Well, then just not getting enough pressure on Moon. All those crossing patterns are the best patterns you can run against man-to-man coverage. But if you're going to do that, you got to have more pressure on the quarterback. And Drew Hill is wide open. He fumbles the ball. He could have probably ran for another 10 yards had he not fumbled the ball in his hands.
Just short of the midfield stripe now. The Oilers got movement in the backfield. Moriarty started forward, then caught back, and there was all kinds of contact then in the line.
Moriarty can do that. He made a mistake, but he covered himself up, and I think Green Bay jumped offside. I used to hate these conferences. Why can't they get paid enough to make a decision in less time than 10 or 15 seconds? Come on, guys.
How much do you miss the on-field coaching assignment, Sam?
I love it up here because you get paid and you don't have to win. That's not bad.
17-3 our score as the conference continues just short of midfield. Houston in possession of the football. And we'll get the interpretation here momentarily.
Encroachment on the defense, number 93.
Well, you pointed it out, Sam. That back, you can make the move as if you're going in motion, and Moriarty covered it beautifully, and you see the reaction on the Houston sideline as the defense then came across and made contact.
If it happens on a line of scrimmage, a defensive lineman or linebacker can grab the offensive player, and it's an encroachment. But Moriarty covered up for it beautifully.
That's the key. If it's in the interior line offensively there, then if contact is made and they bring them across, it goes the other way. This one works to Houston's advantage now in Green Bay territory. Handoff inside, Rozier. Going straight ahead of the 41-yard line. Brian Noble making the tackle. 5:20 to go on our third quarter at Green Bay. And time to check the 10-minute ticker once again. Let's see what's happening around the league. No change in Chicago. Washington and Philadelphia. That one is tightened up. Only 6-point separation. The Rams by 3 in St. Louis. You see our score at Green Bay. Detroit still leading Minnesota. And in the other early games today, San Francisco pitching a shutout in Tampa Bay, and Atlanta leading New Orleans by 11. Moriarty with a call this time to the 40-yard line. Houston mixing it up. We've seen them power straight ahead, but just a moment ago when they needed the third down, Moon went to the air, got his man, Drew Hill, and kept the drive alive.
You have to point out that John Dorsey, number 99, and Burnell Dent, number 56, is a rookie, and those two young linebackers are inside for Green Bay, and Houston is making a lot of yardage going into that area.
John Dorsey getting the starting assignment today because Randy Scott, who is the normal left inside linebacker, has a hamstring problem. Kept him out of last week's preseason game against New England. Oilers still sticking to the ground as they move outside. Tim Lewis with the tackle on Rozier this time. Very little gain.
Right now the clock is against Green Bay, because if Houston can continue to run that clock down and they go in to score more points, as I said earlier, more pressure is going to be put on Randy Wright.
Career high for Mike Rozier is 80 yards in a single game. He has 75 yards, as you see, on the 16 carries. And here's an interesting number, Sam. Third down conversions today. The Oilers have converted 9 out of 12. And as a coach, you got to love numbers like that.
And I'll tell you the person responsible. Number 1, Warren Moon.
Timeout is going to be taken now by the Oilers. 3:30 to 17-3. They have the football in Green Bay territory. We mentioned that third down efficiency. Take a look at what they did last year and what they've done thus far today.
That's unbelievable, and you can mark that for Warren Moon. He made it all happen.
2nd and 8. Moon looking to throw, has plenty of time. Over the middle. Oh, he drills it in there. That one is pulled down by the tight end, Jamie Williams, and I believe that's Jamie's first catch of the day, and Warren Moon put some zip on that one.
What I liked about it, he was focused to the right. He was going to throw the ball to Givens or lay it off to Moriarty, and this is what he didn't do last year. He reloaded, refocused, and found Jamie Williams right down the middle. Watch him look to the right. Now he comes back, refocuses, and hits a strike right between the 8 and the 7. This is a new Warren Moon for the Houston Oilers.
Warren Moon now 10 for 15 thus far. Hands off to Rozier. Sam, an interesting point now that we haven't really touched on today. Jim Everett, of course, is still a holdout. He was the top draft pick for the Houston Oilers out of Purdue. 3rd player taken in the draft. What is all of this increased performance and effectiveness by Moon? How does that relate to Everett in that situation?
Well, he's going to keep Everett at home watching television because Warren Moon right now is getting the job done, and Jim Everett missed the entire preseason, which is a season alone for a young rookie quarterback. As long as Moon plays like this, all Houston has to do is sit tight.
Movement and contact in the line, and a lot of fingers being pointed in various directions at the 25-yard line. Once again, the officials will go into a conference.
Looks like number 69, the right guard, Doug Williams, was offside. And incidentally, Doug Williams now is the starting right guard.
Right, Eric Moran ran into a thigh problem injury, and earlier...
starts, number 69 on the offense.
Earlier last week, Michael Kelly went out with a neck injury to put him on injured reserve. So Doug Williams, who is a new acquisition, came in just a couple of weeks ago from the Jets, getting plenty of work today.
I bet Bud Adams, the owner, felt good about that one. He only paid $100 for him. Paid a lot more for those other offensive linemen.
They keep checking that waiver wire religiously every day, don't they? At the 30-yard line, penalty against the Oilers makes it 2nd down and long yardage. Moon looking deep toward the end zone. Hill is there. Ball knocked away. Good defensive play by Tim Lewis. Drew Hill, the intended receiver, and Tim Lewis knocking that one down to save 6.
That was an outstanding play on the part of Tim Lewis. Both Lewis and Lee are good corners. Now they're running together. Now watch Tim Lewis. Now he's got to see Hill look for the ball. He looks for the ball. Now he looks for the ball, and he gets his hand up. And that takes a lot of athletic ability because there's tremendous pressure on the corner. He followed him all the way down. Then when Hill looked, he turned his head and slapped it away because that had touchdown written all over it, and that would have been all over for the Green Bay Packers.
We mentioned 3rd down efficiency, 9 of 12 thus far for Moon and the Oilers. Here's 3rd and 14. Moon in the shotgun. Over the middle, completes the pass. Look out, Willie Drury at the 5. At the 4-yard line, he's pulled down by Tom Flynn. No, it's not Flynn, but Drury is pulled down, but Moon has done the job once again, and Drury with a nice open field move as he eluded one man and picked up some bonus yardage.
Well, Tom Flynn had a chance for the interception. See, he goes right in front now, should have made the play, and now Drury is wide open for another 1st down, puts a few more moves on and gets the ball down inside the 5-yard line, and now this thing is becoming desperate for the Green Bay Packers. Again, Moon hit another big 3rd down play.
That's 10 of 13 in the 3rd down department. More importantly, the ball at the 3-yard line, and now timeout is being called. The Packers were trying to hustle an extra defender on the field. Running on was Matt Court, the rookie from USC.
It wasn't an extra defender. Matt
Houston Oilers, after the Green Bay mistake with personnel and a timeout. Start from the 3. Moriarty looking for his 2nd score. Gets down to about the 2. Was hit hard there by Brian Noble. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WEAU, TV 13, Eau Claire.
Give Moriarty credit for a yard. The ball at the 2.
What they should do right now is run the ball again and just let the clock run down. They'll probably won't, if they don't score on this play, they'll have to probably go to 3rd down on the other side of the field.
Rozier tries the pile, gets nowhere. Green Bay muscling up with 37 seconds to go in the quarter. John Dorsey leading the attack there on the defensive surge that will make it 3rd and goal. And the ball still, well, it's almost back at the 3-yard line as we take another look at Rozier.
Rozier goes in, but he's stopped by John Anderson from the outside, number 59, and Morsey Code, 24.
Rozier's numbers for the day, 76 yards. What do you call, Coach?
I look for a play-action pass here with Moon exercising the ability to run.
There's the fake, wide open right side. Moon can walk in.
He is tough.
You can almost sense the confidence oozing out of him after this preseason. Now playing in that style that was familiar to him up in Canada years ago. Sam, you called it play action, and that time, as we'll take another look, nobody on the right side of the field.
Flip to Moriarty, and this is speed and athletic ability, and he waltzes into the end zone. They are going to cause a lot of people a lot of problems, and next week they play the Cleveland Browns.
The Oilers have not had the running game, the strong running game in recent seasons, and we're finding out today just how effective it can be when you can bang away with Moriarty and Rozier. That opens up the passing game, and the commercial coming up here now as we have the conversion attempt through. Warren Moon enjoying a terrific afternoon in the passing department and scoring on the 3-yard play-action rollout to the right side, capping a 13-play, 62-yard drive. It's given Houston a lead now of 24-3 as we have but 2 seconds left here in this, the third quarter at Green Bay, a ball game that is moving rapidly along. Here's the kick now. And the Packers from the 7-yard line, Walter Stanley. They need a spark, and they need it desperately, but they're not going to get it on this return. And here comes Mojo.
Mojo has been dead for about 4 years. He's been activated by the way the Oilers are playing. As you can see, he was a gymnast in high school.
Back in Green Bay, Gary Gerald and Sam Rutigliano. The Packers with the football. Sam, they've played 3 quarters. They've scored only 3 points. They've generated only 158 yards. What do you do at this point?
Well, at this point right now, you got to put the running game in the oven. You've got to get the ball upfield. You just got to throw the ball. They got to protect for Randy Wright, get the ball to Lofton, get the ball Epps. They have to get on the board as fast as they can.
Right, looking for Lofton on the deep right side, stretching out, can't hang on to the 48-yard line. Double coverage on the part that time of Bo Eason, and also over there was Steve Brown.
Nice play by 21, Bo Eason. Steve Brown was underneath, and Eason was on top of him. They had 80 double covered.
Lofton with only 1 catch this afternoon. That came here in the third quarter. Epps caught 2 balls in the first half.
Take a look at it right now. Lofton has a chance at this ball. It's just a little too far to the outside.
2nd and 10 now, just underway. 4th quarter in Green Bay.
Houston in a nickel defense.
Wright handing off inside to Gary Ellis. Ellis gets out to the 19-yard line. Take a look at stats through the third quarter in this ball game now and give you an idea of the production on the part of these two teams. The Oilers on the ground, 128 yards, 281 total for that 158 we mentioned for Green Bay.
Well, the Oilers are exercising a game plan, and obviously the Packers are not. Time of possession is very important, but the running is most important because it's taken a lot of pressure off Moon and put tremendous pressure on Randy Wright.
Almost 11 minutes the difference in the time of possession through three quarters. Houston with a lot of men jammed up on front. Here they come. Pressure for Wright. Gets the pass off, completes it to Stanley at the 25-yard line, trying to stay on his feet and get the first down, but thrown down by Patrick Allen well short of the first down.
It's going to be a 4th down. They're going to have to punt the football.
Walter Stanley caught the football, and he tried valiantly to get the extra yardage for the first down, but not even close, well, within a yard.
Walter Stanley, number 87, it was his responsibility to go as much as he needed to go to get the first down. That's not the quarterback's problem. And 87 should have had a first down for Green Bay.
Punting situation now for Don Bracken. He stands back at his own 11. In the deep spot is Willie Drury for the Oilers.
Be careful.
Short kick.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, he called for a fair catch, and he's unhappy with himself. He was looking right into the sun, a short kick, but there wasn't anybody within 10 yards when he indicated the fair. Doubleheader day on NBC, and you've got the Raiders in the Denver or Pittsburgh and Seattle among the matchups coming up in the later games just around the corner. Green Bay trailing 24-3 as the Oilers stick to the ground, trying to grind it out with Moriarty straight ahead to the 44-yard line. Brian Noble with another tackle for the Pack today. Time becomes a major consideration. Jerry Glanville has to be very pleased with the way his ball club is operating today after preseason victories over the Rams, Buffalo, New Orleans, and a week ago against Dallas. Starting out the season here, his first season opener as a head coach.
That's the biggest problem on the bottom of your screen. Time now for the Green Bay Packers. It's against them.
Moon. Again, Moriarty with the football. This time stopped after a yard gain to the 45-yard line. Will bring up 3rd and 6.
Dick Jamieson, the offensive coordinator of Houston, really was responsible for re-gearing the offense to suit and make it tailor-made for Warren Moon. And all those assistants now have a vast amount of experience in the National Football League. 5 of them were ex-offense or defensive coordinators.
And every one of those coaches, with the exception of Gary Huff, has been on a team that's been involved in the playoffs at one time or another. All that being pulled together by Jerry Glanville, paying off now. Moon completes another pass. Woolfolk at midfield shakes off a man to the 44-yard line in Green Bay territory. Butch Woolfolk, who caught a touchdown pass of 29 yards in the first half, gathers one in here. The man who caught 80 balls last year, enjoying a good afternoon, and time for us to be checking the 10-minute ticker, keeping you posted on first week activity around the NFL, all the other early games that are underway today. The big battle in Chicago, and look at this. The Browns have closed to within 3 of the Bears at 24-21 after Chicago had surrendered the lead early, had bounced back to lead impressively, and now they've got a fight on their hands. The Cleveland Browns vastly improved this year. Atlanta extending its lead over New Orleans. Moriarty, left side, tripped up in the backfield this time, stopped at the line of scrimmage by Mossy Cade. Sam, are you at all surprised that they've used Moriarty wide on several occasions today, that they're using him on the pitch in the sweep?
Well, the reason that's working is because they're using him so effectively up into the inside, and the defense is stacked, and then throw a pitch out there. That's the same pitch that they threw on the goal line for a touchdown. He has a lot of mobility, but obviously his best movement is straight ahead.
No gain on the last play, 2nd and 10. Just over 10.5 minutes to go in this football game. Moving right along at Green Bay with Houston in command. Rozier in trouble this time. Going to be dropped for a loss of a yard or 2 as Donnie Humphrey wrapped him up. Humphrey at 295 pounds. And anymore, that's where that used to be unheard of in the National Football League not too many years ago. If you're not up there around 290 now, you're a little man in this game. Really has changed over the years, hasn't it, Coach?
Offensive linemen and defensive linemen, because of off-season programs and primarily weight training both in high school and college, have really gotten players so much bigger than they were 5 or 10 years ago.
Offensive line for the Oilers. Matthews at 280, Munchak 286, Morano was hurt at 282, Williams at 285, Steinkuhler 273. Here come the Packers on the blitz. Moon one-on-one coverage deep, completes the pass at the 10-yard line. Touchdown, Houston. Drew Hill. Against the blitz, Warren Moon got rid of the football at the last instant, and he had it right in the grasp. Hill did not have to break stride. It goes for 6, and the Oilers lead it 30-3 now as they're blowing out the Green Bay Packers. Warren Moon getting the accolades and congratulations, certainly well-deserved on the sideline.
Well, they've tried a couple of times and weren't able to hit Hill. Watch him. He's to the outside now. Lewis has good coverage, but the ball was up too fast. It's thrown over the outside shoulder, and Tim Lewis, 26, never had a chance to recover. The key to that play was how fast Moon got the ball up.
Conversion attempt, Zendejas puts it through the uprights, and after a 45-yard touchdown pass from Warren Moon to Drew Hill, the Houston Oilers now have broken this one wide open in Green Bay. The Packers, who got 3 points on the board early, have not scored since. They now trail 31. Drew Hill, who has just pulled in a 44-yard touchdown pass from Warren Moon. And the Houston Oilers enjoying a 31-3 lead right now here in Green Bay, as they have really made things miserable for the Packers and their near 55,000 fans. Getting set for Lee Johnson to kick off for the Oilers. In the deep spot, Walter Stanley standing at the 1-yard line for the Packers. Stanley fields this one 5 yards deep and will not bring it out. So a good long kickoff on the part of Johnson. Packer fans not real happy with the fact that there was no run back. Let's take a look, Sam, on that touchdown play where Warren Moon actually had to take the ball off the ground.
He's apparently a good shortstop, too. Watch him field the ball on the ground, picks it up on one hop, then refocuses and gets rid of the ball for touchdown to Hill. Now he throws the ball to the outside, which makes it difficult for the corner to recover. Right to the outside, and he takes it in for a touchdown. Outstanding, another outstanding play on the part of Warren Moon.
And Hill never had to break stride. All he had to do was concentrate and catch the football. 31-3, Houston. Lofton in motion for the Packers now as Wright sets up and goes to work. Looking down here on the sideline, ball tipped out of bounds, intended for Kenneth Davis. Keith Bostic, the defender. Bo Eason also back there now. The Oilers, of course, know what to anticipate. They have the luxury of a 28-point advantage, and they have the clock in their favor with 9:41 to go here. Chicago has scored again. It's a 10-point advantage once again over the Cleveland Browns. The Rams now up by 13. Our score, as we mentioned, 31-3. Detroit has made it a 10-3 ball game in Minneapolis. San Francisco with an additional field goal. No change in New Orleans. Right out of the shotgun. Fires on the right side. Lofton picks this one and is going to be pulled down to the 26-yard line. Patrick Allen, the defender over there, as Lofton gets his second reception of the day. Wright now 9 out of 16 for just over 90 yards. Sacked one time thus far on this one.
Lofton 80s on the inside. He's going to the outside, makes the catch. Brown makes the hit. Now he's going to try to get himself as much yardage as he can to get as close as possible to the third down situation. They've got to pick this one up now. It's 3rd down and 3. They're lining up to the left now with 3 receivers stacked one behind the other. Look for one of them to break short for the first down.
Under heavy pressure, here's Stanley out in open field at the 50-yard line. Swings outside, eludes another tackler. Walter Stanley still on his feet inside the 20. Finally bumped out of bounds. And there's the explosiveness that they waited so long for this afternoon as Walter Stanley hooks up with Randy Wright. But with 8:45 to go, you can't help but wonder if it's certainly a case of too little too late. 60 yards on the reception and a great run by Walter Stanley.
Look at that trio right there. Now watch Stanley on the top of your screen break to the inside. Bostic 25's got to cover him. Now he gives him a move here. Whoops. Goes back to the inside. Now go back to the sideline and left. There's a missed tackle, another miss, and now he uses that speed to the outside and brings a 60-yard play, the longest one of the day. First down for the Packers. Get the ball in the end zone.
Straight ahead, Ellerson. Penalty marker goes down as he gets inside the 10-yard line.
Forget about running the ball. You got to get back in the game. It's less than 9 minutes. You're down now 31-3. Throw the ball on every down to get back.
And I stand corrected. It was not Ellerson. I thought I saw the 2 there. It was a 3. Jesse Clark with the football and losing his helmet. The hold has been the indication apparently against the Packers, and that is certainly going to work to their disadvantage. Going back to that play by Stanley, that was a relatively short pass. The pass of that 60 yards covered only about 15 yards, and then Stanley did the rest as he tacked on 45.
That's why speed kills. Show a short pass like that for people like Epps and Lofton and Stanley, they can put a lot of yards on it. That's what Givens and Drew Hill has done for the Houston Oilers. You have to have speed outside if you're going to compete in this league.
With the penalty, the ball moved back now to the 23-yard line, counting down toward the 8.5-minute mark. Packers have only a field goal to show thus far in this game.
Gary, they've got to throw the ball in the end zone right now. They got to get back as many points as they can, and they've got to gamble. They've just got to throw the ball in the end zone.
Epps and Lofton to the near side now. Davis in motion, his right back pedals. He's under pressure, fires, pass incomplete, intended across the middle for Davis at the 20-yard line. Robert Abraham, the inside linebacker, right side, dropping there with Davis, providing the pass coverage.
Very difficult position for a young quarterback who started just 3 games, Randy Wright, before today. Very difficult position because he's playing catch-up football. He's under pressure, and Houston is playing it very loose.
Of course, Craig has said that Randy Wright's his man. He says he has a good arm. He's a smart guy. He's just going to have to get better because he is our guy. It's as simple as that. Wright has the ball thrown back in his face. Defensive surge. Bird was there. Grimsley was there. Ray Childress was there. And I think it was Richard Bird who got a hand on the football. He had a fumble recovery in the first half.
Watch the replay on the shotgun now. He's focusing upfield. He gets his hand up. 71, Richard Bird gets his left hand, knocks it down. If you can't get to the quarterback as a rushing defensive lineman, you stop, jump up, and get up in his face, and you get a lot of knockdowns.
Third down, 20 yards needed for the first down. Packers trailing by a bundle here at 31-3, 8:09 to go in the ball game. Here come the Oilers again. This pass away. Lofton in the end zone. Patrick Allen with great defense over in the corner. Lofton turned back, and the ball was right there. Wright had it on target. But the key, I think, was that Lofton had to turn and make the move inside, and Allen was able to tip the ball away.
Well, Randy Wright should have got the ball up early. See, there's Lofton now. Get the ball up now. See, he waited too long, and he gave Patrick Allen an opportunity to recover, who made an outstanding play. That's very difficult, as we said earlier, for a cornerback because he can't see the ball, and the receiver is focused in on it.
Ball will be spotted at the 31-yard line as Del Greco has come on for an apparent field goal attempt. We say apparent. It is going to be an attempt. You never know if they would go for more. And the kick is no good. Off to the left side. And so the woe is mounting here in Green Bay for Forrest Gregg and the Packers. Here ends up going for naught as the missed field goal has given the Oilers the ball. They lead 31-3. Just under 8 minutes to go as the Oilers go to work trying to utilize the clock.
It's no secret what they're going to do right now. They're going to continue to run the football.
Sam, we were talking earlier about the Jim Everett situation with Houston. Now, there are also a couple of veterans who are not with this ball club. Harvey Salem and Brian Sauché have been involved in contract disputes.
Harvey Salem was the starting left tackle. Reported last Thursday, they fined him $44,000, and they're sitting tight right now. I believe that you'll probably see them trade Harvey Salem next week, and I don't think it'll be to a West Coast team.
Warren Moon, who has thrown 2 touchdown passes, hands off to Mike Rozier. Rozier in traffic, pulled down short of the 25-yard line.
What Houston needs to do right now is make sure they don't fumble the football. Just make sure right now they don't have a turnover. The worst thing that can happen to you is punt the football. There's absolutely no way Green Bay can get back in this game right now. Rozier is hitting a pile. Moriarty makes a good block, but there's just too many green shirts in the hole right now because, as we said earlier, it's very obvious what Houston's intentions are at this point.
Oilers have been most successful in third down situations today. They have converted at a rate of almost 75%. Moon faced with 3rd and 8 right now. He may have another one. Indeed he does. Drew Hill hammered down out of bounds, but only after he got by the first down marker. So they have converted once again. Mark Lee with a tackle as Hill's just a little bit slow getting up. We'll be checking on that third down efficiency.
Let's watch Drew Hill right now as he gives Mark Lee a move to the outside, but the ball is up. Right now, you can't get on corners on plays like this. They can't make these plays. They have to have pressure. See, if you have pressure from your defensive line, then you have interceptions. If you have good coverage by your backs, you have sacks by the defensive line. And Green Bay defensively has been out of sync all day because of Warren Moon.
Moriarty straight ahead once again. Clock continuing to be the big enemy of the Packers, now inside 6.5. Drew Hill with 6 receptions thus far this afternoon is 98 yards with a touchdown. He's within 2 yards of having a 100-yard day. Time for us to check our 10-minute ticker now as you see the clock counting down here at Lambeau Field. Still a 10-point ball game in Chicago. Washington stretching the advantage. Houston dominating this one at Green Bay. New Atlanta with another touchdown as they're up by 25 over the Saints. Moriarty with the football, struggling to get an extra yard, but utilizing all the clock. Houston now, this is almost hard to believe, Sam, 14 of 17 in the third down conversions.
Gary, that's almost illegal.
You're just beaming ear to ear. As a coach, I know you just love numbers like that.
It just doesn't happen. And I've said it repeatedly. I don't mean to be redundant, but Warren Moon's the key. He's the guy right now that's pulling a trigger on this offense. He virtually holds the pulse of everything that's going on. Now, they're playing in concert, but he's the director. He's the guy that orchestrates it.
And again, in case you joined us late, you have to remember Moon was not intercepted in the preseason, gave up an interception on the first series today, but then has bounced back with this dramatic performance. Rozier with a couple of more yards.
There's another third down conversion, Coach.
Coming up, 14 of 17. We said near 75%. That's well over 75%. Didn't realize it was quite that high. 31-3 the score. Just under 5 minutes to go now, and the clock continues to run. The Packers have got to be concerned. They have just not scored points. Their exhibition performance, 9 points last week against New England, 12 points a couple of weeks ago against Cincinnati, 14 points only against the Giants, and they've got 3 today against Houston in this one. Another first down, and the Oilers continue to grind away as they get closer to midfield. This one almost wrapped up now for Jerry Glanville in his first official season opening day. And a Houston ball club that over the last few years has really struggled. You go back through the 82, 83, 84, 85 seasons, 11-46, only 11 wins.
And you know what? The most important thing, 4 coaches with white crosses went down in that record. They have tremendous balance right now. Speed outside, good inside runner with Moriarty, good durable back in Rozier, and a very resourceful quarterback with 5 condominiums on the offensive line.
Moon hands to Rozier, and Rozier across the 50, down close to the 42-yard line. He'll be in there for another first down, it appears. Rozier now has, I'm certain, his yardage today will be a career best. His 80 yards have been the best in his career, and he's closing in on 100. As we'll be updating that
number for you. As you see him turn upfield right now. Turn upfield, break a tackle, gain about 2 or 3 more yards. That's what he does best. He's a very strong, slashing type runner. Doesn't have the great speed, but has the tremendous balance, good elusiveness, and moves.
Rozier, and there are the numbers for you. 22 rushes, 89 yards. Career high as far as yards gained. He's got to be a happy man. Moriarty with a call this time to the 40. And that was another one of those third downs a moment ago that was converted when Rozier made that run. And we're down to 2 minutes and 48 seconds as the clock continues to grind away. Jerry Glanville gives a lot of the credit to the program that he instituted back early in the spring, Operation Head Start in March, when he had the players come in. It started out with a defensive group, and then a lot of the offensive guys got involved, and he really says that that had an invaluable impact on his team, bringing them together. And when they came to camp, they were not only in shape, but they were way, way ahead of where they had been in his estimation in previous years.
There's Johnny Cash on the sideline in his black suit.
Rozier in trouble this time, will be thrown for a loss.
Gary, to pick up on what you just said, what it did in Operation Head Start, it gave his new coaches an opportunity to get to know the players, evaluate the players, and for them to get to know the system. And when they went into training camp, they were way ahead of where they would have been if they not have had Operation Head Start. Moon is doing it all, and Randy Wright has not had the opportunity to do the same for Green Bay.
Here's your third down efficiency compared to the 1985 season. Staggering numbers at 83% today for the Houston Oilers. They have done little wrong. They had the 1 interception on the first series. The first time Moon had been intercepted this year after 4 errorless preseason games. But he has come back and directed scoring drive after scoring drive.
What he's done there is Warren Moon has hit the critical third down pass, and Moriarty and Rozier have run for the critical third and short, and they've had a good blend all day long. And this team, which is interesting about Houston, Gary, this team has a lot going ahead of them. They're going to be even a better team as they begin to play together during the course of the year. And it's going to be an interesting division now with Houston and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
Fifth time that
and Cleveland, of course.
Fifth time that these teams have met, and it's been the road team that's won every time in the past, and that's certainly the case here today as Houston is on the way to their third victory and now a 5-game series. 2 minutes to go. Big